So here we are, over 20 videos later on the Ncase M1, and it's all come to an end. The M1 is now discontinued, at least the M1 Classic that you and I know, what will forever be known as the ITX case that started this push for supreme hardware optimization, the first case to really balance not only the size and dimensions of hardware, but the power and cooling requirements as well. Now for some of you who have only recently built your first PCs, this might sound a bit weird and extra sentimental, I totally get that, but you have to understand the Ncase M1 really was the first good ITX case. It was years before the NZXT H1 or the NR200, many years before the Meshlicious or the Ghost S1, and even before the Dan A4 SFX. In fact, I would go as far as saying that had the Ncase M1 never have been produced, I think your ITX case options today would look very different, maybe even not exist. So rewinding 8 years ago, the choice of a PC case was pretty simple. You had the choice of a generic oversized mid-tower case or an ITX microwave box that was really unoptimized. So when the Ncase M1 came around and said, hey, I can fit a 240mm liquid cooler in under 13 liters, that was honestly insane at the time. But these days, the PC hardware landscape looks very, very different. We now have humongous graphics cards which easily exceed 140mm in height, as well as requiring some really serious cooling. And I guess that's one of the main reasons why the creators of the Ncase M1 have decided to move on to something new, or at the very least redesign the M1 to better fit today's hardware. This is what they had to say. Due to various factors, we've decided not to order another batch of the M1 at this time. This means the current M1 design, or M1 Classic, is effectively end of life, and we will not have any more M1 Classic cases or parts available to order. It's had a good 8-year run, but evolving component requirements and shifts in the market have made it a less compelling option in recent times. We want to stress that this is not the end of Ncase, but an opportunity for something new. We do have new products in development. To that end, we are not ready to comment on current production or time estimates. So yeah, like many of you, it is really tough to see this one go. I guess as sad as you can be for a computer case not being produced anymore, that's kind of how I feel here. It is really tough not to recommend this one anymore because it has been such a really good case, but as the creators have kind of noted, it has been quite a less compelling option as these cards just get bigger and bigger, more power hungry, and just demand just insane cooling. But yeah, the Ncase M1, it was my first PC case with the V5 back in 2017, and I guess my excitement for it is what got Optimum Tech started. I love testing different coolers and different builds in it and sharing that with my audience. And I guess if you rewind back the clock, that was really my first few videos. Even today, my PC is inside an Ncase M1, as many of you know, a fully liquid cooled build with a Ryzen 5900X and a 3090. So then what comes next? Well, I can tell you that the new case is being designed, and for now it's called the M1 Evo. And as for how it's different or better, I'm told that we can expect better compatibility, better build quality, and better pricing. So better compatibility, I think we can decipher that one pretty easily, and we can expect probably larger graphics card support. Really the only way to do that without moving to an 18 L plus case is to adopt a sandwich layout and mount the card vertically. So I am guessing that the M1 Evo will likely have vertical GPU support, like a lot of space optimized ITX cases these days do. And as we've seen, not only is that the most efficient way to fit a big graphics card in an ITX case, but the thermal and noise performance that you can achieve here is pretty damn good as well. As for better build quality, this is really anyone's guess. The M1 was already a really well-made premium filling case to me anyway. I had definitely no complaints here. We might see some thicker panels, maybe some CNC, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then finally, better price. That's always great to hear. The Ncase M1 has always been around that $200 US mark, which is definitely premium, so maybe Ncase are feeling the competition and heat from those lower priced ITX alternatives. So what I've built here is what will probably be one of the last Ncase M1s ever to be produced, last of the M1 Classics that is. It's a V6.1, and yeah, overall pretty happy with how clean it turned out. It's an all air-cooled build with the Noctua NH-U9S cooling a Ryzen 5800X and two Noctua NF-A12s pumping air into an RTX 3080 Founders Edition. There's also an extra exhaust fan to help pull away the heat from both the CPU cooler and the flow-through fan on that 3080. All in all, it makes for a really powerful gaming PC with a reasonably efficient airflow setup. At full gaming load, the GPU sits around pretty typical levels with no undervolting, but keep in mind that this is also on a fairly warm day, room ambient around 25 degrees C. But by undervolting the GPU, we can get some pretty huge reductions in thermals and noise, and for what it's worth, here's an idea of what this build sounds like at full load. Now some quick alternative recommendations to the NCase M1 in the meantime, we have the Cooler Master NR200 and NR200P Max, both great cases, or you do have the Meshlicious if you prefer something vertical. And unfortunately, the T1 is also out of stock and awaiting a new design. But if you do want something a bit more M1-like, you do have the Sliger S610 and S620. They are very similar layout to the M1, although the build quality is a bit rougher and the price is a bit steeper as well, so just keep that in mind. Otherwise, really excited to see what the guys at NCase can do with the M1 Evo and how it's going to be better than the Classic with these evolving hardware requirements. As always guys, a huge thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.